everyone, and welcome back to another episode of You Skip That. I'm Alex Grace.
And I'm Dan Clark.
And this is the podcast where two friends share movies that one has seen but the other hasn't. And today, this podcast might be more than meets your ears. This is actually, I think, the most recent movie we have covered.
Yeah, I mean, it's
just left theaters.
Yeah, it just came out on home media. Yeah.
I am talking about the 2024 Transformers 1.
The first one.
The first one, which is the most recent one.
Kind of like the Xbox one, you know?
It's kind of like the Xbox one. But anyway.
Yeah.
Transformers 1. We're just going to jump right into it. What'd you think?
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely doesn't do any of the stuff you've previously told me you don't like in Transformers movies.
Yeah, I got issues with Transformers.
Hey, go ahead and tell the story you've told me.
I missed out on Transformers. I was born in the 80s, brought up in like the early 90s, and my parents told me years later, because I never got into them when I was a kid, that they decided that I was going to find one thing that I liked, and that was all the toys they could afford to get me. And I happened to find Ninja Turtles first, and they kind of steered me away from other stuff. And so I don't even remember Transformers really being that big of a thing when I was... They were more like mid-80s when I was kind of too young to really appreciate them. But they kind of moved on. So really my first big exposure to Transformers was Michael Bay.
That was probably like my real exposure to Transformers.
I knew that they existed. I wasn't completely shut out from them. It's just a lot of what goes on with Transformers, especially in the Michael Bay stuff, I just don't get.
Yeah.
Like, even the good one, Bumblebee, didn't really care for it. I can't watch two cars driving across the desert with ominous music underneath it and no one in them and go, this is tense, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
I get that. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
It is a little silly.
And this one is also silly. Transformers.
Oh, it has silly moments, yeah, for
Transformers
sure.
is just a silly concept.
It is.
And I know that there's, like, I'm a Star Wars guy, and Lord knows there's plenty of this kind of thing in that, but when they start going, oh, we have to get the Energon for Cybertron so that we can beat the, whatever the evil aliens were.
We need the Matrix of leadership.
Right.
And you have to say it with that dramatic tone every time you say it.
Right. And I know that it's like, oh no, like Obi-Wan and Han and Chewbacca have to get to Alderaan to stop the evil empire from, like...
If you're not into that thing, you start describing it and you just sound like a lunatic who's just flinging random syllables.
I know how my parents felt when I got into Pokemon. They're like, oh, is that a Pikachu? Okay. Like, oh, look, you made yourself a Cybertron, didn't you?
Yeah.
But this was the closest I've come to really getting into.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah.
In a way that the other movies have not been.
And it delivered the lore in a much more palatable way than the Michael Bay movies did.
There was a point right towards the beginning where I'm like, God, is this going to be like an hour of exposition and then one really cool action scene? And I'm going to have to go, oh yeah, sure. I liked when they were talking about the in-depth reason why they're called Decepticons, and that's just...
Well, that didn't happen till the end, but yeah, sure.
That's what I was saying. Like, I don't want to just sit here with and get,
lore dumped
on. Yeah, I don't. All right, we've got on for like a half hour about what the Matrix of Leadership is. Everyone flip to the Decepticons chapter of your Cybertron,
of your textbook,
Cybertron history book, and it wasn't like that.
No,
there are long stretches of exposition, but they do it in a very interesting way.
Right. Well, we'll get into the plot a little bit.
Yeah.
This is an origin story for the two main Transformers, Optimus Prime and Megatron.
Mm-hmm. That's neither of their real names.
No, Optimus Prime's name is given to him by Transformers God, basically.
Yeah, I guess.
We might get into that later. I don't know. And
do we have the time?
Everyone
flip to your Transformers religion chapter of your textbook.
Yeah. And then Megatron is a name he chooses after his favorite Prime, which are like the original Transformers.
Uh-huh.
Who are kind of like superheroes, even by Transformers standards.
It's kind of like if Kylo Ren went, henceforth I shall be known as Darth Schmader.
But anyway, we meet these guys back when they are Orion Pax and D16.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't even have a name, he just has a number.
Right. Yeah, I kind of wondered if they were going to go into why does he have a name and he has a number?
There's actually an interesting history thing there we'll get into in the trivia.
Okay.
Some Transformers history. Real life, not lore.
Because We also see Bumblebee, though he never gets called Bumblebee.
Nope, not once in the entire movie.
But I know enough to recognize that's the yellow
That
one.
yellow and black one. I do like the whole thing where he cannot stop talking.
Yeah.
Where the character of Bumblebee can't speak.
Can he not speak in the cartoons? Is that...
No.
Okay.
No. Yep. He
like I
communicates through radio clips, things he heard in movies, that kind of stuff, but he's lost the ability to actually speak.
I never thought I'd say this, but so Michael Bay got it right?
Kinda, yeah.
Bumblebee is B127, but then Alita is Alita 1.
Alita, yeah.
Yeah. According to it's Alita 1, I don't remember ever saying 1.
I think somebody does say it, yeah,
Right.
at one point.
There was so much stuff getting caught up in that. Like
so many names.
Sure, drop another number
thrown out there. Yeah,
throw another number into the sentence.
Yeah.
Why not? So yeah, some of them have names and some of them have numbers, and it's not like a class thing because
right.
Orion Pax is the same social rank as
D16 and B127.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we meet these guys as miners
for Energon.
For Energon, yes. Which is the fuel source for Transformers. And none of these miners have the ability to transform. They've had this cog, this part of them, taken out. They don't know this
yet.
They
think they were born
that way.
Without a cog.
That's just something you earn.
Right.
But they stumble into a few shenanigans, including getting caught up in a big race, which draws the attention of the leader of the Transformers, Sentinel Prime.
Caught up makes it sound like it was an accident.
Yeah, no, it was very much planned by Orion Pax.
Yeah.
That they would end up in this race.
D was
he was caught up.
Was caught up.
Yeah.
In it. Orion fully intended to be there.
He was caught up in a shenanigan.
Yep.
Which it has some great moments in the race.
In the race and like the whole period before the race.
Yeah.
There's some real solid laughs in this. It was funnier than I was expecting it to be.
Yeah, it was very funny. Part of that comes from the casting, which we'll get into in a minute. But they go through this race, get the attention of Sentinel Prime, and
he's the big hero.
He's the big hero who everybody loves. They kind of get unceremoniously dumped at the very bottom of the city with B-127.
Right.
They think it's a mistake, and, you know, the actions of one guy who's kind of been a jerk to them through the whole movie up to this point.
Who we never really see again, do we?
We don't really know.
He drops him off in sub-level 50 and just kind of pieces out of the movie.
Yeah. He's just like, I'll see you later, losers.
I have served my purpose.
Yep, pretty much. But while they're hanging out with B-127, they figure out where the matrix of leadership might be.
This great emblem that makes the planet livable.
Yeah, makes the planet livable.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like the planet's on switch.
It's the good thing.
It is the MacGuffin of all MacGuffins.
Yep, it makes resources plentiful and it fluffs your pillows and it you know, just anything good in the world that you want to happen is
free
brought
candy,
about.
unicorns, all of it. But anyways, they rope Alita 1 in on this little adventure to the surface. Their former boss who got demoted because of something stupid they did.
Well, I mean,
heroic,
yeah,
but stupid.
They're saving Jazz. I'm like, I know Jazz. Like, I remember that's a name that I recognize. I don't know why he's called Jazz when Jazz would be a completely foreign concept to these people, but I recognize the name. This must be another big character, and then we don't see him again.
No, we do.
Do we?
He does. He's the one Orion is talking to towards the end of the movie.
Oh, okay.
When he's talking to all the miners.
Oh.
But anyway, they go up to the surface, and here's where the spoilers come in.
Spoilers. Turn it off, and then go watch it, and then come back and listen to the rest, because we're about to get real entertaining.
Yeah, right? Turns out Sentinel Prime sucks. In a big way.
Honestly, he showed up and I'm getting Homelander vibes off this guy.
Same. The first time I saw this, I'm like, well, he's the bad guy.
Yep. Homelander from The Boys, for those of you listening who might not be up on that. Really good show. Don't watch it if you're squeamish.
Yeah, or if you have kids anywhere in the building.
Yep. It is very much an adult show. So are the comics.
But anyway, Sentinel Prime has sold out the entire planet, killed all the primes, and has all of these miners working to feed their arch enemy, these bug people, the Quintessons.
Yeah, that was another one where I can't take Quintesson serious.
Yeah.
That's just another weird, funny word.
Just another silly name.
Now I'm going to go back over here and read about Coruscant. And
and Wookiees. And
Kashyyyk. with 3 Ys in a row. Not a weird name at all.
But anyway, Sentinel Prime, bad dude.
Sucks.
Sucks.
In a big way.
This just crushes our 4 heroes as they figure this out. Especially D16, who takes it poorly, to say the least.
Yep. He goes, well, guess I'm a militant revolutionary now.
Yeah. Orion.
Like, immediately.
Yeah, Orion goes, hey, you know what? We need to tell people the truth, and then they can kind of make up their minds. And D16 goes, we're going to make up their minds for them.
Right. I know what's best for them. They will think like I think.
Yeah. And also, he's like, yeah, you know that Sentinel Prime guy? I'm going to rip him in half. And then he does.
After a fashion.
After a fashion. Yeah. He pretty much just lays it out, what he's going to do, and then he proceeds the rest of the movie to do that thing.
Yep.
But really, from here on out, it's kind of just a build-up to the big final fight. They meet all of the classic Decepticons who were in hiding. They're the Cybertronian High Guard. And I saw one with wings when I saw this in the theater, and I went, oh man, is that Starscream? Starscream is my favorite pathetic weasel in all of media.
And again, a lot of the terminology within Transformers just goes right over my head. Starscream's one of the coolest names ever.
Right.
That's just a fact.
But then there is a big, spectacular battle with Sentinel Prime and all his minions. Orion manages to get the truth out there. And then right as D is about to straight up murder Sentinel Prime, Orion stops him once and is like, hey man, you can't do this. You know, don't be like him. And then D goes, yeah, you know, you're right. But...
And by you're right, I mean, I'm going to shoot you.
Yeah. Well, no, he like kind of concedes for a second, and then as soon as Orion gets out of his face for half a second, he's like, or we could kill the bad guy.
But I have this gun on my arm, and it would be gauche not to use it.
Cool.
You don't bring an accessory and then just not capitalize on it.
Yeah. Orion jumps in front of this blast. D has a brief moment of, oh my gosh, what have I done? And then he goes, you know what? I'm tired of you messing things up for me. And drops Orion down an endless pit. I mean, it's one of those things you see coming from the beginning if you know anything about Transformers, but they do a good job of making you care about it.
Yeah,
They show him as a pretty sympathetic guy who at the same time shows every sign of becoming this guy at some point. It's tough, even though you know it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So he drops Orion down an endless pit, at which point the planet moves out of the way, which I thought was awesome.
Yep.
For Orion to reach the core where Primus, who is basically Transformers' god, is, and he's like, hey, you did it good, bro. I'm gonna bring you back to life. Not the exact line. Lawrence Fishburne does it way better than I do.
Yeah.
You can't just transform into a truck. You transform into a really big truck. Now Optimus Prime, Orion comes back to the surface and goes, hey, stop, get out. And Megatron goes, I'm gonna be back, Prime. And at the end, we find out why they're called Autobots, because they finally have autonomy to make their own choices. They're not just Sentinels, worker bees. We find out they're the Decepticons because they won't get deceived again.
Yeah,
I thought was a weird move, but I'm like, at the same time, like, it's better than anything we had before.
Yeah, there was just no good justification for them calling themselves Decepticons and still thinking that they were the good guys.
Right.
Like, at some point you have to go, yeah, we just called ourselves Decepticons. Maybe we just got to take this one on. Like, we have to accept that we're the bad guys.
We got to accept the L. But yeah, you know, we've poked a little fun as we've done the plot here, but it actually is a solid movie, and it's a bit deeper than you expect out of a kid's movie.
And in our defense, the movie pokes fun at itself.
It does, yeah.
B-127 has 3 friends that are just scrap piled on top of each other, and he acknowledges they're not alive, and yet when something happens to any of them, he is inconsolable.
Yes, bawling.
And it is, you know, again, we said Transformers is just kind of a, no matter how cool the execution is, it's still kind of silly.
Yeah, I mean, most sci-fi things are when you boil down to them. But yeah, I thought it was really cool how they showed the rise of Optimus Prime and fall of Megatron. At the same time, convincingly, and in a way that was enjoyable for both kids and adults. And it's just pretty solid.
It's also a very pretty movie.
It's a very pretty
Especially
movie.
when they get to the surface and the sky's all those purples and blues and
looks
greens.
like a vapor wave. poster.
Yeah.
In fact, the sun at one point, there's like clouds in front of it. It's got like the lines through the sun.
And then when the Prime, whichever one it is, Alpha
Trion
is explaining everything, and it's all done in like that dust.
Yes, he's
That
like
was cool.
using sand to create these projections of what happened.
Yeah.
That was a really cool scene.
Yeah, that's really cool. The fights are all really cool.
The race was neat.
The races, yeah, they got a real strong feel for colors.
Yeah, for colors, for action. The lighting's great.
It's so easy with just a bunch of silver robots with splashes of color here and there ramming into each other and fighting and changing shapes and everything to really lose track of what's going on.
Yeah.
And sometimes it is hard to keep track. Most of the time it's pretty clear
Yeah.
what's what.
Yeah, they framed it all really well. It's very well animated.
Yeah. And I believe pretty true to the original cartoon.
Yeah,
It's
the
all
designs
3D.
are very, very similar.
Right.
If you've ever even seen screenshots and no names, you're like, oh, hey, that's RC.
Yeah.
And that's Jazz, and that's Soundwave, before they even say his name, you know?
Yeah, they all have that human-like face just painted silver.
Yeah.
As opposed to the Michael Bay movies where it's all just like a mishmash of... They show a close-up of Optimus Prime talking. It's like someone's crinkling a tin can in front of your face. Because there's just so many weird little moving parts. They went back to the classic look, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but I give big props for staying true.
Yeah, and it makes it a little easier to parse, too.
Yeah.
For those of us who are, not as big fans overall.
Yeah.
I'm not a Transformers nut or anything, but I enjoyed this. This is one I have to thank Threads for. I would not have thought to go see this movie if I hadn't read everyone on Threads talking about how amazing it was.
I remember seeing a lot of stuff about how good it was. I also like the train tracks and the race.
Yes, the
race.
roads that kind of just appear out of nowhere.
Yeah, they kind of make themselves up as they go.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's like a kid laying on a Hot Wheels track in front of a Hot Wheels.
Or like Wallace and Gromit.
Wallace and Gromit with the train.
Yeah.
But we haven't even gotten into the cast, which I think is one of the strongest points of this movie.
Yeah, I didn't pick up on many people in there. Everyone was doing really well. The exception, of course, is Keegan-Michael Key.
As soon as he spoke, it's like, well, that's Keegan-Michael Key.
As B-127.
Who, within the first 5 minutes of being in the movie, introduces us to one of his inanimate junk robots he's built, whose name is A.A.Tron. I laughed embarrassingly loud in the movie theater the first time I heard that.
Yeah. For those of you who haven't seen the Key and Peele sketch of the substitute teacher. Just Key and Peele substitute teacher, type it into YouTube.
Yep.
After you finish listening to this.
Yep. It's one of the funniest 2.5, 3 minutes of your life.
Yeah.
But anyway, he brings it in a big way.
Yep.
He probably has the most lines of anybody because his character cannot shut up to save his life.
And there were a couple times in there where I went, is that Thor? Is that Chris Hemsworth?
Yeah, is that Chris Hemsworth?
And then he'd do something else, and I go, it's not Chris Hemsworth.
He did a good job, especially towards the end when he's actually Optimus Prime, of emulating Peter Cullen.
I did notice throughout the early portions, like, he'd just kind of be like a fun guy, just like, what's the worst that could happen? We're just going to go into a race against a bunch of people who are vastly better than us in every way. And then he would have to give some kind of an order, and he would get that kind of Optimus Prime quality to his voice.
I thought that was neat.
Yeah, it was a nice little touch.
Yeah, kind of showing him growing into it. Scarlett Johansson as Alita 1 is very fun.
And then
A repeat
person, yeah.
You skip that actor, Brian Tyree Henry, who was previously Lemon in Bullet Train, now D16 and or Megatron, and brings it.
Yeah.
He has some heavy line deliveries in this.
He makes a very hard turn for the character from being, at the beginning, he's not even the big risk taker. He's just kind of the, gee, man, like, Orion, what are you doing, man? All of that. And then steadily, and then not so steadily, kind of moves towards this very extreme.
But, you kind of see all of the signs that that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Because even when he's the sad, pitiful, why are we doing this, Orion kind of guy, he is the truest true believer in everything that's going on. He has his whole world broken in 10 minutes and goes, I'm gonna ruin everything over that.
Sentinel Prime, who is, of course, played by John Hamm, in just a perfect smarmy.
Just the worst. He doesn't have a ton of lines, but Steve Buscemi's great as Starscream.
I did not pick that out of Steve Buscemi.
I love how they gave a justification for Starscream's, weird voice in the old cartoons where Dee chokes him in a fight and crushes his windpipe, And
Yeah.
so the rest of the movie...
Got that weird kind of whisper shriek kind of voice. Yeah.
But yeah, just solid performances by everybody. It's just a ton of fun and also drama at the same time.
Social commentary.
Little historical commentary.
There was also points in the movie where I'm like, this would be so much cooler if I liked this stuff.
Yeah.
Like if I was a fan, like, this is how they got that.
Yeah.
I can imagine if someone had been invested on the level that I was invested in Ninja Turtles back in the day, seeing that profile of Optimus Prime from the back for the first time. Like, that's him. He's here.
What's funny is I'm not a huge Transformers fan. Like, I like it, okay. I think it's a cool concept. Mm-hmm. I had a couple of those moments in this. Oh my gosh, he's turning into Optimus Prime now.
Right.
Oh my gosh, he's Megatron. He's got the big gun on his arm now.
Yeah. Again, bringing it back to Star Wars. This is the vibe that they were trying to get with a lot of Solo.
Yeah.
I was like, that's why he's called Han Solo. Because he doesn't have a family, and so they call him Solo. Oh, look, that's how he got his gun. Someone tossed it to him over a fire one night.
And that's the Kessel Run.
Yeah. The Kessel Run was cool.
That is cool.
I'll defend the Kessel Run. What they were going for with that is what we got in this.
Yeah.
And that's
how he became Optimus Prime. That's how he became Megatron.
Yeah. And that's the first rollout that he says, and you know how he takes that position. Yeah, it's cool. It might sound kind of snarky and sarcastic, but I really wish that I cared more about Transformers so that would have been even more cool for me, because it was kind of cool.
It was kind of cool.
But
imagine how cool it would have been if this was your jam.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
I can imagine there are people out there who, roll out was like Avengers Assemble.
Yep.
Which is a scene that, like, I wasn't huge into Marvel when I was a kid, but just thinking about that scene, like... Goosebumps. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. And I think that really speaks to how well they made this movie, that neither of us are huge Transformers fans. And we walked away from that going, man, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah, it's a good sign that even if we weren't invested in the property, we can identify those moments.
Yeah.
It means they were done well, and it wasn't just, we're gonna give a shoddy excuse why this guy has this name, even though everyone assumed that was just his name the entire time.
You want some trivia?
Of course.
One of my favorite moments early in the movie is Alita gets mad at Orion and D and refers to them as you two GoBots.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of funny, just, using the competitor that they've since bought out.
Yeah, I didn't realize they'd bought them out.
Yeah, apparently in the 90s. Hasbro bought Tonka, who made GoBots.
Yeah, so when they said that, I was like, I didn't know they could legally turn a competitor's name into an insult.
Yep. Apparently, when they bought out Tonka in 91, GoBots were established as an alternate universe of the Transformers.
Huh. I should have known that there was a multiverse of the Transformers.
There's a multiverse of everything,
I
man.
know.
Another one early in the film, Alita tells Orion, "You don't have the touch or the power." Which is a reference to the song from the Transformers movie, The Touch, by Stan Bush.
No references to Dare to Be Stupid, which was also apparently in the Transformers movie.
Yeah.
I will stand by this. Any movie, show, comic book, anything would be improved with more Weird Al references.
It's true. This is the first movie at any point in the Transformers franchise to not have a single human character.
Oh no, we didn't have Sam Witwicky in this one.
That would have been a weird cameo at the end.
I was kind of wondering if they'd have Shia LaBeouf do a background character's voice.
That would have been funny.
Even if he was just some minor that said something like, hey, no one wants to hear it, okay? No one wants to hear it. They definitely weren't going to get Megan Fox in there after... I don't know if you've heard any of her voice acting from Mortal Kombat 1. But
No. Bad?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, we might have to look that up afterwards. You would not believe she's an actual professional actress. She's had quite a bit of success.
Yeah.
Not lately, but...
Apparently, director Josh Cooley said he was kind of partially inspired to make a Transformers movie after he saw the Transformers movie as a kid, the one from 1986, and was traumatized because Optimus Prime dies in that movie.
Spoilers!
Permanently.
Yeah.
And he was just brutally destroyed by that, and he's like, well, I could make a better Transformers movie.
Where he doesn't die.
Where he doesn't die. So D16's eyes change throughout the movie. They start out as yellow. Mm-hmm. And then once he hears about Sentinel Prime, they turn orange. And then when he finally just decides to give up D16 and become Megatron, that's when they become red.
I noticed they had turned orange, and I was trying to remember if they'd started off as blue like everyone else's, but no, I guess they were yellow.
And then the other one, I mentioned earlier, D16 is actually a reference.
Okay.
It's a deep cut reference.
That's the best kind.
D16 is a reference to the Japanese serial number of the original Gen 1 Megatron toy. The D is short for Destron, which was the Japanese name of the Decepticons, while 16 denoted the number of the figure, and Megatron was the 16th of the Destron figures. So he was D16, and that's where they got the name.
Right.
B127 means nothing. It was just, they thought, well, he's got a letter and a number, so we'll give Bumblebee one too.
Yeah. Just to make it not seem weird that only one of them has
a letter number. Yeah.
Yeah. I was wondering if 127, if January 27th had something to do like that.
Yeah.
That was the date that they put out the first. I don't know.
But yeah, surprising little bit of trivia for an animated movie.
Yeah.
Those seem to either have a ton or nothing.
Right.
Yeah, overall, you enjoyed it?
Yeah, a lot more than I thought I would. I'm trying to think of, there was something else. Oh, another one that I kind of missed the boat on was Top Gun. I thought the first Top Gun was fine. It was, and I still do. The first Top Gun is a fine movie.
Yeah.
It's not great. It has good moments. And then I saw the trailer, I was like, cool. So I remember that scene from the original, and that they're just copying the original 30 years later.
And then you went and saw it, and Maverick is amazing.
Maverick is incredible. If you haven't seen Top Gun Maverick, we can't do it on the show because
we've both seen it.
We saw it together. Yeah. This one was another one where I kind of saw the posters and clips of the trailer and went, okay, it's just
more Transformers.
More Transformers, especially the fact that it's, I think, executive produced by Michael Bay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we're getting more of the movies that I didn't enjoy, so I'm not going to care all that much. And I think I even kind of went into this going, well, I'm not going to like it because it's Transformers. And a half hour, and I'm like, I'm not, you can't make me like this. This is not crap. Just,
Maybe I actually like this.
Yeah. Do I have to go out and buy a Decepticon now? Do I have to make a Cybertron? But yeah, I enjoyed it. It was a fun little movie.
And it is funny, they've gotten a lot of mileage over the years out of making movies out of toys. And even in, the last decade or so, we've gotten just a glut of them that were really good.
Barbie was surprisingly
Barbie was
good.
Great.
Another one that I saw the trailer for, I was like, cool. No.
One that you like less than I do, but is still pretty good, the Lego Movie. You're wrong on that one, but we'll let that slide. You can't be perfect.
I don't like it, but I don't dislike it enough to fight you on it. It's
right.
I'm glad you enjoyed it,
But yeah, we've gotten some good ones over the last few years. At least ones that seem to care about what they're making a movie about, as opposed to just being an ad.
Yeah. Going into video game stuff, the Super Mario Brothers movie was good.
That was good.
I feel like there was another video game adaptation. Sonic has been really good.
That's been a spectacular. I've seen the first two. I'm hopefully going to see the third one tomorrow. Yeah, that's been a solid trilogy.
Yeah.
I remember when we all saw that first trailer.
With the wrong
Sonic.
Yeah.
And the internet was outraged. And they went back and they're like, okay, we can do better. And then they came back with a fantastic version.
Yeah.
That looks like he just jumped right out of the video game.
See, I was on the other side of that one. Not that I thought he looked good.
Yeah.
But it came out and I saw Sonic. I was like, yeah, that's pretty much par for the course.
Yeah.
I lived through the Super Mario Brothers movie. Not the new one.
Yeah.
I lived through Bob Hoskins.
Yeah.
Yeah. A movie that I think has its charms if you go into it expecting
what it is.
It is. Yeah. There's some fun stuff there in the same way that there's some fun stuff in The Room. It's just, it can be enjoyable to rag
Sometimes
on.
a bad movie is fun.
I kind of went, okay, cool. We'll just take another L. We got Prince of Persia a few years back that was kind of okay. It's okay. We don't need
good video game movies.
Controversial, but I know one that you agree with me on, Uncharted.
Loved Uncharted.
Uncharted had moments
I questioned that casting so hard.
Yeah.
But all of it. But then the movie came out and I'm like, you know what? Solid.
Yeah. It's, again, I've lived through the real bad Mortal Kombat.
Yep.
The first two of those and Resident Evil. When I heard, hey, we're making an Uncharted movie, I went, cool. It's Tom Holland as Nathan Drake. I went, okay, it's going to be what it's going to be. Whatever.
Yeah. It's Mark Wahlberg. It's Sully. Okay.
Fine.
Fine.
Realize Bruce Campbell's right there, but okay.
Yeah.
For either of them. Bruce Campbell, who will show up on this show at some point.
Just weird aside, but you brought up Bruce Campbell. I watched Burn Notice over the summer. I freaking love Bruce Campbell.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Socials.
We have a Facebook.
Do we now?
We do. If you search the words, "You skip that," ? You'll find us. We post previews of what movies are coming down the pipe. Every Friday, typically, we post what movie is going to be coming out the following Monday. That way you have a chance to watch it if you'd like.
What about Threads and Instagram?
Oh, we've got those too. All at You Skip That.
Amazing.
No punctuations, no capitals.
Yeah.
It's real easy.
Pretty much get on any social media and type in You Skip That. If we're on there, we'll pop up.
Yeah. If we're not, you didn't waste too much time, I guess.
No.
Yeah.
If we're not, Alex's email is...
Alex's email is Dan at You Skip That.
Hey. I'll have you... Let me check here, okay? Let me check my actual, personal email. How many...
unread emails do you have?
All right, You know me pretty well.
Yeah, I know you very well.
We'll play this little game. How many unread emails do you think Dan Clark has in his personal email?
7,000.
No.
12,000.
Getting close.
Oh, okay. We might be really close then.
Yeah? How much you got?
Total, combined, my email accounts equal 14,556.
Yeah, you got me edged out a little bit. 13,016. But that's in one.
Yeah.
So if you think that I can't ignore a bunch of people going, what about? Then you got another thing coming.
It's true.
So,
it's true.
Yeah.
Well, folks, this has been fun. If you haven't seen Transformers 1,
do it.
Roll out.
Yeah.
It's just a fun 2 hours.
Yeah, we'll be back next week with one of my movies.
Yes.
I think could be the oldest movie we've ever done.
Wow, that's kind of a neat thing we did there.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, everybody.
Bye.